Welcome into Hittin Hard with Jon Chuckery. Today on the show, where do the Hawks' big three rank in the NBA? Falcons coaching staff and their front office has a lot of work ahead of them. And I can admit when I was wrong. We'll talk about all that next. It's Hittin Hard with Jon Chuckery on Locked On Sports Atlanta.
This is Hittin Hard with Jon Chuckery, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
Welcome in here on this Thursday edition of Hittin Hard with Jon Chuckery and Locked On Sports Atlanta. Head to youtube.com, put Locked On Sports Atlanta into your search browser. When you find us, hit that subscribe button. Of course, free and available, all your favorite podcast platforms, including Spotify and Odyssey. Give us a 5-star review. Also, leave us a comment there as well. And then follow me on my personal Twitter page at JMCH316. Came across an interesting article earlier this morning when looking at Bleacher Report talking about big threes in the NBA right now. Now, look, obviously, the Hawks' big three is Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, and, of course, John Collins, who is still here despite what the blue checkmark media told y'all. But anyway, that's a separate story altogether for all of it. Okay, I understand. There's a lot of you that when I said big three and then said John Collins, you groaned. Oh, how are we a big three with John Collins? I get it. I understand for some of you. But I think Collins is a better player than a lot of people give him credit for. I get it. I understand. All right. So we get through all of that angst. So let's stay on track with what the premise is. The big threes in the NBA. Young, Murray, Collins. That's our big three. Okay. So I'm going to give you what Bleacher Report had as their top 5. And then I'm going to give you their just missed the cut and honorable mentions, okay? And number 5, Booker, Paul, Ayton. That doesn't really affect us. They're in the West, right? Embiid, Harden, and Tyrese Maxey for the 76ers. Okay, didn't we just beat them a couple of years ago and all that? I understand they didn't have Harden, but with all due respect, you traded one Instagram model for one strip club guy. So, I feel pretty good about where we rank amongst them because I remember 2 years ago beating them in their place when they were 29-7 at home, a couple of seasons. Okay, so I feel pretty good about that. Durant, Irving, and Simmons. So you got one guy who didn't want to be there as of a couple of weeks ago. Kyrie Irving, y'all told me you didn't want him because he didn't play enough. And then they have an Instagram model. They have a guy who's more worried about what his Instagram page looks like and what outfits he's got on than actually getting on the court and playing basketball. So while I get that if they're healthy and everything else, blah, 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 they can be a lethal combination, what's the chances all of that happens? Okay. Number 2, Curry, Thompson, Green. All right, they're in the West, ain't worried about them, right? Number 1, and I think this is one of the 2 big ones, Giannis, Middleton, Drew Holiday. I do think that's a championship group in the Eastern Conference. I still think that they are the gold standard as far as threesomes go in the NBA, or at least put it this way, in the Eastern Conference. I still think Curry, Thompson, and Green is the best threesome in the NBA, but that's all right. However, 1, 2, it doesn't really matter. But in the East, I think that they're the best. Interesting on the honorable mentions part of it, that they had Tatum, Brown, and Marcus Smart. Now, I really like this group. They were obviously in the NBA Finals this past season. I don't really have a problem with calling them the second best threesome in the Eastern Conference. I'd much rather have them over what they've got in Brooklyn or in Philadelphia. I still think that group, both offensively and defensively, is an outstanding group, and they obviously are guys that play, and you don't have to worry about their Instagram account and all these other kinds of things, being at the strip club and this, then you don't have to worry about all those kinds of things with them, right? You trust what those guys are and what they bring to the Celtics franchise. Towns, Edwards, Gobert for the Timberwolves, doesn't matter. That's out west. Wall, George, and Leonard, that's the Clippers. They're out west. And just missing the cut, they had Joker, Murray, Porter Jr. for the Nuggets, Zion, Ingram, McCollum for the Pelicans, Garland, Allen, and Mobley for the Cavaliers. Didn't we just beat them? last year? Didn't we get a chance to line up against them in the play-in game and we beat them? Okay, so I feel good about that. And then we've got, excuse me, Morant, Jackson, Bain. Okay, West Coast, we don't play them. Memphis, they're in the West. We don't really care about them. And then also in just missing the cut is Young, Murray, and Collins. So they have what? In the East, 3 groups in their top 5, one that just missed the cut or is the honorable mention, and then the just missed the cut guys. So where do the Hawks stack up in all of this? Where do the Hawks fit in all this? I'll tell you here in just a second, but let me first tell you about our friends over at BlueNile.com. Engagement season, you're getting ready. You want to pop that question. Love through the summertime, right? Weather's beautiful. You're out and about. You're hitting the streets, right? Doing your thing. Love is in the air, as they like to say in the old song. BlueNile.com is your place to go. You're thinking about popping the question? You want that custom engagement ring? Use their Build the Engagement Ring of Our Dreams. It's a very simple online tool that lets you choose the shape, size, clarity, as well as setting style for that unique, one-of-a-kind, perfect engagement ring. Everything one of a kind when you get to develop this thing yourself. Maybe, though, you're not getting married. You're already there, and you need a gift. Maybe you got an anniversary, a birthday. You need a shut her up gift. Okay, I know that wasn't nice, but anyway, you need something to give her, a piece of fine jewelry. Their experts are on hand 24/7. You can use their tool. You can talk to one of their experts 24/7. Look for that perfect gift. Look for that perfect, moment that you want to share with the love of your life. So we have a deal going on right now for our Locked On Sports Atlanta listeners. If you head over to BlueNile.com, check out what they've got going on, build that engagement ring, find that gift that's just right for what the special occasion coming up is. And when you spend $500 or more, we're going to give you $50 off your purchase simply by using the code Locked On at checkout. LOCKEDON, Locked On at checkout. That'll get you $50 off any purchase of $500 or more. $50 off $500 or more simply by using Locked On, LOCKEDON at checkout. Put that code in today. Shop stress-free. Every order is insured, ships for free, and arrives in that discreet box where you're not tipping her off that you went out and bought her something or that you're about to pop the question. Everything's in a discreet box. BlueNile.com. Go there today. Get all of your fine jewelry needs out there. So, look, I feel pretty good about where the Hawks are. I think the 2 that to me are the big threats are Middleton and Giannis and Holiday in Milwaukee, and then Tatum, Brown, and Smart in Boston. That's the 2 that I look at and say, okay, that's the biggest hill that we have to climb. And as I just talked about, look, we beat the 76ers a couple years ago. We beat the Cleveland Cavaliers this past year. And I'm not taking anything away from those, but we beat them. We went up to Cleveland and won. Went into Philadelphia and won. So I'm good. And our threesome is better now than it was last year or 2 years ago. Right? Murray's an all-star player. We didn't have 2 all-stars standing side by side the way that we do. And we didn't look at John Collins as being the third piece. A lot of people, he was our second piece. So I feel pretty good because, again, Brooklyn can be better than all of those ones, and they can be right there with Steph, Clay, and Green, right? They can be right there with those guys. But again, you guys complained and moaned to me about, Irving doesn't play, and what do I want him? He's a cancer and a head case, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, then if he's that for us, then he's that way for Brooklyn, right? Or did he change his spots because he's in Brooklyn? I'm confused. Because he didn't opt out of $37 million to go play for $6 million. Is that the dumbest damn thing you've ever heard in your entire life? Oh, yeah, I'm going to opt out of $37 million to go play for $6 million in Cleveland. Okay, yeah, that's going to happen. Anyway, dumb narratives out there. But again, if he's that big of a cancer, doesn't play, Durant doesn't want to be in Brooklyn, he went to the ownership. He didn't ask the GM or the head coach to move him on. He went to the ownership and said, yeah, I know I signed for 4 years and $200 million, but I want out of here. Oh, by the way, he did it a day after Kyrie opted in, right, to his deal. And Ben Simmons, I promise you, in the last month, he's had more Instagram posts than he played games last year. Okay? I wouldn't want that guy within if I could get a restraining order and keep him 500 yards away from my facility at all times, that's what I would do if I was an NBA team. I wouldn't want him if he was playing for free in my cul-de-sac on a Tuesday night to help a bunch of my buddies coming over that are drinking beer, listening to some rock and roll music, and playing pickup basketball. I wouldn't want him then. So I feel good about where the Hawks are. I feel like if we can get some things together, and Collins has got to play. Yes, he's got to work with those guys and improve. Hunter has to play and improve. Capella has to play and improve. There are a lot of what ifs. I get it. I understand. But I think that starting three core that we have is a good group of guys. And right now, I feel pretty good about taking those guys as we head into this season. All right, when we come back, the Falcons coaching staff and this front office, they got lots of work ahead of them. We'll talk about all of that next. It's Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery on Locked On Sports Atlanta.